following trends alone does not make for a bad game. Something special can be made if just a little innovation and thought is put onto what is already a good idea. Fortnite would not have existed if it didn't iterate on the concepts of PUBG, and Overwatch may have been a different game if TF2 didn't exist. The point is, following a trend can be the catalyst for something special. But, more often than not, publishers and developers can be blindsided by trying to stick too hard to the existing formula. This brings us to Realm Royale, a small chapter in the Battle Royale saga a couple years back. Despite meeting the same fate that tens of bandwagon-hopping BRs did, it actually had potential to be a serious contender in the market. Even more interesting, the reason Realm Royale rapidly bled its player base wasn't to player interest, but several strange decisions and ultimately neglect by its developer Hi-Rez Games, a developer infamous for such tactics. This is what happened to Realm Royale.
Their newest entry in the Battlegrounds spin-off of the base game. Admittedly, when I first heard about this and I saw the trailer, I wouldn't say I had the most positive response. We're off to a really bad start.
Realm Royale's story begins with Paladins, Hi-Rez's entry into the hero shooter genre. Upon seeing the global success of Battle Royale titles like Fortnite and PUBG, and probably looking at pretty much what every other developer was doing at the time, Hi-Rez wanted to give their own take on the BR genre. So, at Hi-Rez Expo in 2018, they released a Battle Royale game mode for Paladins called Paladins Battlegrounds.
The best part about it is when you're playing Paladins and you want to change up the game mode, you don't have to change the game now. You still stay in the same client and you end up playing Battlegrounds, which is awesome.
Yeah, I'm actually just recently a pro player in PUBG. Fun game. I think this game's going to rival that. It'll be up there on my list for games to stream.
Battlegrounds had a fairly lukewarm response, never being super popular with the player base. To speed up development time, and because it was just envisioned as a game mode initially, many assets and gameplay portions were recycled from Paladins. In fact, the map itself was cobbled together from existing Paladin multiplayer maps, with empty space in between them to connect them all together. The heroes themselves were copied straight from the team-based game modes, abilities and all, which actually led to a lot of the players complaining about the game's balance, since some of the heroes with abilities that were stronger in a Battle Royale setting, like those with stealth options and sniper rifles, ended up being more effective during play than those that did not.
The issue of duplicate heroes and overpowered heroes eventually led Hi-Rez to limit what heroes were available in the mode, and allowing only a randomly selected pool of 8 hero choices per game, which players could then choose from, so it wasn't just the same stealth heroes in every single game because they were broken as fuck. Other than these issues, the game was a very typical Battle Royale game.
Only 3 months later, Hi-Rez would shut down the game type in Paladins and re-release it as an early access standalone version under the name Realm Royale. Many of the same mechanics from the Paladins versions remained, including the class-based aspects. However, instead of choosing a champion, at the start of the game you would pick between 5 classes: Warrior, Engineer, Assassin, Mage, and Hunter, which would dictate the type of abilities that you could use. During gameplay you would pick up spells, items, and potentially destroy any extras down to dust, that you could use at a forge to make potions, armor, and class-specific abilities or legendary weapons. These forges proved to be popular, and incentivized players to keep looking for engagements to acquire resources to make these legendary weapons. This made the forges themselves combat hotspots and valuable areas to hold and protect throughout the game.
That, on its own, incentivizes players to roam around the map from forge to forge, upgrading their equipment and building new equipment. So at least in some respect, players are drawn towards each other because they're all going towards the same goals, at least until they have everything they need.
Even though it had a modest launch compared to the elaborate marketing campaigns that we're now used to seeing, Realm Royale had a fairly successful start. It came at a time when a portion of Fortnite fans were fatigued with building mechanics but still enjoyed the aesthetics and third-person nature of the game. So Realm Royale managed to scratch that itch and throw some new ideas into the mix as well, such as the chicken respawn. When you were downed in a game, you turn into a chicken with reduced movement speed. If you could survive for another 30 seconds, you would be brought back into the game without the need for a revival. This added a little more to the dying mechanic, and it was gameplay like this and the Forge which kept the player base growing at a healthy pace.
Oh my god, what an epic win!
We did it.
Oh,
We did it.
oh my god. That was sick, man. This game is really fun. That was intense.
However, this isn't the story of how Realm Royale turned out to be a super successful game and took over Fortnite to be the biggest battle royale in the world. On just the 3rd patch of the game, Realm Royale had a gameplay update that removed one of its signature features, the Forge. The community was upset, because seemingly this change was to have the game be more similar to Fortnite and other BRs. Now, instead of naturally coalescing and fighting at an objective and the better player coming out on top, better gear just meant that the player rolled better when opening a chest.
And I can see a lot of people not being all too pleased about this, because previously the legendary weapons was simply what was primarily used by most players, and that's the weapon you typically use for your class.
Okay, I just opened a normal chest and it gave me a frost sniper rifle.
Dude, that's gonna be the strat.
The changes removes a significant layer of skill cap, enables an immediate progression power spike right off the bat, and creates a situation in which players are not at fault.
I don't see a... What? What? Didn't they just say that it's a pacing issue? What?
Doubling down on what makes it unique. They're pushing it more towards what feels like it's trying to become a Fortnite clone to a lot of people.
The infamous patch came out on a Friday, and soon after, players wrote on the game's subreddit and Steam review page, spamming both respectively with angry feedback and dissent about the controversial update. On the Monday after, craftable legendary class weapons were re-added and removed being a random chance drop. But it was too late. The damage was done. The player numbers have never recovered since, and many players hopped on the next Battle Royale or simply returned to Fortnite. As it stands today, Realm Royale state is a shadow of its former self. A big announcement for the game was scheduled earlier this year, but all that ended up being announced was a rotating game mode. Since that patch, Realm Royale has been getting monthly skins added to the store and no gameplay or backend changes. It's rumored that the original team that was put to work on the game has since been moved to other projects, leaving Realm Royale on something even less than maintenance mode. The marketplace for Battle Royale games is as cutthroat as the games themselves. There's only going to be one winner, and if you can't keep up, you'll be left in the dust. Realm Royale had something going for it for a little bit, but ultimately it fell with the rest. There is a bit of debate in the community about what exactly it was that stopped Realm Royale from becoming the next big thing, but many point to the Forge patch as being incredibly tone-deaf and representative of the state of the game as a whole. A user on the game's subreddit shared his thoughts on the whole situation, and I think it wisely narrows down the main issue. The concept of a game's alpha or beta means something different than it used to. These days, you only have one launch, the first one. And while making sweeping changes to the gameplay might make sense behind closed doors, when you're dealing with a very fickle active player base, these kinds of changes can be polarizing. Even though Hi-Rez may have been within their right to make those changes, it may not have been ideal for the health of the game overall.
And like I keep saying, alpha's the time to do this, but when you have 104,000 players, when you make huge sweeping changes like this, it's going to chase people away.
The gameplay that the player base is used to was the one that got them to fall in love with the game in the first place, so taking it away obviously got players upset. With any sort of change to the foundations and so many options on the market, players scattered immediately, leaving Realm Royale as a prime example of how important it is to balance player expectations.
A lot of fun. Unfortunately, there aren't really any other big streamers that play this game. I'm looking down right now, the next guy has got 400 viewers, which is kind of ridiculous. It's weird because this game is so much fun. I guess I think just Fortnite's just better to stream for Twitch at the moment. It's gonna take a lot. You know, I think these Fortnite or these Realm Saturdays are actually gonna be huge for the game. It's pretty awesome.
Thanks for watching. Know of any other interesting stories in gaming that you would like us to cover? Let us know in the comments below.